Hi guys. So I'm trying to keep these short. Ew, I said it again. I say that every single time and it's a lie. But these I really am because I have the entire 10-part training inside Entrepreneurs Who Overdeliver. And I'm just doing one a day. And I really would love to keep them under 20 minutes. Hi, John. How are you? It's been a while. Really want to keep these to like under 20 minutes. I'd want to keep them around 10, but today's is about sales and that's just not gonna happen. So today's TED Talk is about discovery calls and what the coaching industry won't tell you. So for those of you who are new to the party, welcome. I'm your host, Liz Dederer. Did I do that right, John? I'm your host, Liz Dederer. I am the founder and CEO of Selling with Service. Thank you. I run the sales school for entrepreneurs, and for those of you live, welcome. For those of you catching the replay or watching this on YouTube, big milestone that we hit yesterday. We enrolled our 36th student in sales school. 36 is like an odd number to celebrate, but it's just a weird number that has like special meaning to me. I turned 36 on the 36th day of the year at 3:36, so that's, I don't know, man. It's divinely guided number for me, I guess. Who knows? But anywho, I want to talk about discovery calls today, and I had to write down my notes because I was like, if I don't keep myself a little bit focused, this is going to turn into a 27-day filibuster, right? And we don't want that to happen. So let me just cut straight to the chase. Everything that I'm sharing in this 10-part series, they're counter ideas to what's going on out there. I'm going against the grain, against the norm. Duh. Hashtag shocking for those of you who do know me. And for those of you who don't, welcome. You're in for a treat. I say the things that everyone's thinking that nobody wants to say. You're in the right place if you want more of that. Here's the thing about sales calls. There's a lot of teachings out there, and I don't follow a lot of the other like sales teachers, business coaches, sales programs that are out there because like I know what I do, I know what I teach. I don't need to double down on that. I'm not teaching their stuff. Things, happen through osmosis, and I don't need their stuff in my brain, right? So I know what I teach. I got to stay focused on that. My content develops organically and is taught. And all I ever need to do is focus on finding the next person to help. So what I do know, though, is from students who come into my world and I understand what's going on in their sales process. And forgive the doorbell, but the kiddos are running around. So what I do know about sales, somebody better get that dang door. So what I do know about sales is from what my students who come into my sales school talk to me about and the challenges that they're having, some of the things I have to unlearn them from or from them, however that sentence structure works. And that's kind of where this rant is, this teaching, this conversation, this TED Talk is going today. One thing we know to be true is that sales are gross. They're gross. Sales are weird. Sales are awful. They're uncomfortable. You're in sales energy. It's about like convincing someone to do something. It's got like used car salesman vibes, like all of these other things. No fun. Nobody likes it. That's why a lot of people avoid them. What happens is when we're avoiding that like heavy dominant masculine energy, and this doesn't mean that the dudes can't sell or they're doing it wrong or anything. It just means like that kind of I have to go sell something is very masculine, like chest pounding kind of energy. And especially for women, like that doesn't work. It really doesn't work for dudes either. That's what gives them the bad salesy rap. But people think that, oh, I'm in sales for whatever reason. There's this misconception out there that, oh, that's what I've got to be in sales. Well, the opposite is true. You don't need to be that, or I should just say that you just don't need to be that. What happens is when someone is like, oh, I don't want to be that, they go all the way to the other side of the world and they're like, I'm just going to help people. I'm just going to show up and I'm going to give and I'm going to serve and I'm going to support and I'm going to talk to people and I will just love on them and use hope as a strategy. I don't know. They end up just collecting like really good conversations. And someone I used to study under said it kind of brilliantly that great conversations, I think I'm paraphrasing her, great conversations are the fastest way to go broke or something like that. So that's somebody else's words if she's watching, because I know she stalks a little bit. So not my words, those are hers. That great conversations are the fastest way to go broke. And what's meant by that is when you're out there having these bobblehead conversations and you're like, oh my God, it was so great to talk to you. It was so great to talk to you too. And then you get off the phone and you're like, fuck, I could have helped her. Whatever. I don't have a client now. I've got to go do something else. That's what I know to be true out there. People either think they have to go into sales energy or they think they have to be like everybody's best friend and just have like nicey nice coffee chats and that sort of thing. There's a really beautiful in between that happens. That's what I'm going to talk to you about today. But here's kind of the breakdown of discovery calls that they're teaching out there. A lot of emphasis is put on, mastering the discovery call, mastering that one conversation. I've got a process around it. I think everyone who's in a business coach sales lane has their own process around it. It's less about mine's better than yours, and it's more about, let me give you some framework so you as an individual can go find out what actually genuinely works for you. That's the most important part. I have some of my most successful clients over the years are probably only using a fraction of the framework that I taught them, melted together with something else that they learned, and then, flavored in the rest with their own thing. I don't care. My ego will survive the trauma. They're getting results. I helped them with 10% of it, 10% of it, or 20% or more. Like, I don't care. It's not about that the script is perfect or right, or mine's better than yours or whatever. It's that you do need to have a framework. You need to have a framework for everything in your business, because we're not reinventing the wheel every single day. And if we are, we're doing so that we can develop a process. It's less about having the emphasis on this amazingly perfect discovery call, getting it right, using the right framework. And it's more about understanding that a really good sales call or discovery call is simply the result of a really solid sales process, AKA a people process, AKA a way to move someone from where they are closer into your world, closer to where you know that they can be and where you want them to be. So it's less about mastering this one conversation. Well, there is importance to navigating that with no sales energy, and there is framework so that it doesn't get away from you. There's no magic that's going to happen. You could have the best sales conversation, but if you're bringing in the wrong people and your funnel to get them to where you are is not weeding out the people that aren't ready for you, you can have the best sales script, but you will consistently have that be the cliff where the lemmings fall off. Period. Nobody's telling you that. I know that. I know that they're not telling you that, because the people coming into my world where I'm saving them, they're like, oh my God, I had no idea. I had no idea that I was having all the conversations with the wrong people. I had no idea that I was having that conversation prematurely in the process. I had no idea that that first call that I was having is actually a networking call. It's not the sales. Like, all of the process is all jacked up. That's it. Conversation's fine. I do little tweaks in the conversations, but that's not even the biggest thing. It's the process. So there you go. There's a few critical things to know around this process and sales conversation that they're not going to tell you out there. One of many. I'm just trying to stay to the list, guys, because this is my topic. This is my jam. This is where I'm maybe a little bit passionate about this. Everything within really your business. Here's a Lizism. Your business ain't got shit to do with you. I'm working on my media sheet and I have to write down my Lizisms. Business ain't got shit to do with you. It doesn't. It's all about the other person. I have to write this down because I'll forget. Your business ain't got shit to do with you. It's all about the other person. You're just there as a conduit, right? It has nothing to do with you. It's not about you. With that, everything within your business, especially everything within your sales process, really hinges on the little hinge that swings the big door is your unattachment to the outcome. You cannot want it more for them than they want it for themselves. What will happen, logically we understand that, where the energetics get tripped up is what happens when we want it more for them than they want it for themselves. We stop listening, we hear what we want to hear, and we stop serving and we start selling. And then it's about you and it's not about them, right? So we've all dated the wrong people, right? Everyone has dated a wrong person, at least one. Some of us are like experts at dating the wrong people, so I can speak about this. You see them and you hear them and they're telling you exactly who they are, but you want to see and hear who you want them to be. You're falling in love with the idea of them. So when the blinders come off and they are revealed to you, you're like, oh my God, how come I didn't see that? It's because you were committed to what you wanted, not to the reality of the situation. I'm going to go back and tag myself in this. So that'll be like my subliminal note to self as I go to sleep. That'll be tonight's subliminal brain training. But seriously though, hi everyone coming onto the party, welcome. When you are more attached to the outcome for the client, potential client, we'll get to that in a minute, you stop listening and you start thinking that all of their conversation, questions, etc. are, it happens, personal, I don't want to even say attacks, but like, you know what I mean, that they're objecting to you, that they don't want to work with you, when really you're now in sales energy trying to convince them that it's a great way to, that it's a great idea to work with you, when you've stopped listening to what's really going on with them. Whole training inside the Sales School for Entrepreneurs on how to co-create, how to walk someone through a collaborative closing conversation so this shit doesn't happen. Like, it's a mint process. And not to say that, like I was just saying, it's less about the conversation itself, but the conversation is important because it will allow you the discernment to be able to get people out. The second kind of hinge about all of this that is a mind-blowing concept to a lot of people coming into my world, when I mention the fact that they're already a client. They do not become a client when they pay you. They are already a client. If you believe that they only become a client when they pay you, you are in sales energy. And everything that you're doing up to that point is like showing up on the first date perfect, right? You're like, oh my God, I woke up like this. No, you didn't. You spent 45 minutes putting on your makeup. Like, that's not true. When you adopt the mindset early and often that they are already a client, you are not trying to sell them. You are not trying to convince them to work with you. You are not showing up as anything different than who you are. More importantly, as it relates to them, you are showing up to serve and support them. You are not making it about you. When you believe that you have to get them to become a client, you are putting on your best behavior. You're like in awkward sales energy. There's fear underwriting all of that because you don't want to lose them. When you adopt the mindset early and often that they're already a client from the onset, the first time you have an intentional business conversation, the first time you connect with somebody with your business hat on, or your red bottoms, or whatever your business like thing is, where you're like, I'm businessy today, red lipstick, blazer, whatever it is for you. The first time you have that intentional business conversation, they are already a client. How do you talk to your clients? You're like, what's up? Instead of like, hi, you've reached Liz. How can I help you today? Bah. No. What's up, girl? What's going on? How can I help you? What's up? What do you need? Whatever. Like you're you, right? You're not afraid to reach out to them. If they need something, you help them. And there will come a point, if they are the right person for you, and your process is set up correctly, that they're opting in to next steps every time. They're self-selecting. They're signing up to say, yep, more of that, please. Yep, more of that, please. There will be the point in the relationship where you're like, this is awesome. In order to solve this next brand of problem that's showing up, in order to have this next level conversation, we do need to set like an official play date on the calendar. So are you open to having that conversation? Is that salesy? No, which takes me to my next point. Do not offer unless you are invited. Otherwise, you're in sales energy, you're prematurely selling, and oftentimes the objections that arise are simply a function of you having the right conversation at the wrong time. Mind blown. Did I just sound like a news reporter? Because I felt a little fancy saying that. Anyways, tonight at 5. That's that. Do not offer unless you are invited to. Guys, I got to stick to the script because this one could go on for a day and a half, like I said. When it comes to objections, you will get them. If you're not getting them, you probably have a client who is a little like quick at the trigger, and the bounce rate of that person is likely going to be high. The success rate of somebody like that is likely going to be low. Are there exceptions to every rule? Abso-fucking-lutely. And somebody who doesn't necessarily have objections, concerns, questions throughout the conversation, to me is a red flag. It's like the love bombing of sales, right? They're like, oh my God, you're amazing. Yeah, let's do this for sure. Absolutely. And then they ghost you, right? They just disappear. Then they turn into like narcissist client from hell kind of a thing. These things happen. And if you haven't had these situations show up with clients, you haven't had enough clients because these people are out there. These people, it happens. It legit happens. When objections come up in your sales conversations and process, they are beautiful things. I do have a training called Overcoming Objections because that's like common street language and that's how people would know to go to that training. But inside, we call it other things. It's a collaborative close. It's co-creating the close. It's really understanding that the objections that arise are opportunities for better understanding for both people in the conversation. And also, the objections that arise are opportunities for you to say, oh, I wish I had known more about that earlier in the conversation. So I'm going to go back to my conversation framework and add that in as a question early on so that when I have my next sales conversation discovery call, I'm addressing that early. Perfect example, money. Everyone knows that money is the hinge, the objection, the concern. What do you say around this? How do you deal with it? Blah, 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 blah. When it comes to money, and it's a sales call, you know that it's an intentional business call, people aren't asking about it early. Why? Because they don't want to get weird about it. Ask about it early. Ask about it early. What's your budget? There, problem solved. Not like really exactly, but like it's okay to ask early. Like, should we agree that it makes sense for both of us to, continue to work together, find a way to work together? Did you have a budget or number in mind? There's your scripting. There's your language around it. Say that early. That has to get said in the first 10 minutes of a call. What you do with that information, I could teach you all about that in this whole training inside sales school, what you do with that information, what your likely 9 out of 10 response is going to be, and then how you handle that. That's all inside sales school. But it's okay to ask early. Ask early. You should be asking early. Talk about the elephant in the room, and it's only an elephant in the room if nobody's talking about it. After that, it's just like air, right? And then the last thing I want to say, because otherwise this could be an entire an entire thing. What no one else is really saying out there is when it comes to discovery calls, I think we're looking at them as, there's two things actually. See, I know there's always going to be more. I think we're looking at them kind of through the coach's lens versus like an actual salesperson lens. And there is a big difference there. When you're looking at it through like the coach's lens instead of a salesperson's lens, you're really in like softy energy and you're not necessarily in your best business brain, because what happens is that's a really thin line that you teeter quickly into sales energy, when really it's a structured business conversation with questions that you're going to be asking in every conversation, hence a framework. And one thing that you really need to get in the habit of doing with everything is you book a something from a something. When you're having that conversation with someone and they're like, yeah, I definitely, want to work with you. You set up the sales call, you have the call. They're like, yep, I want to work with you. Easy. You're booking them into the first appointment, the first, VIP day, whatever that is, how your business is structured. And if you're using my invisible business model, it's your first intensive, your power positioning intensive, always out of the gate. When it gets to the point where they're like, I need to think about this, I've got to talk to my husband. Unless he's a business partner, I don't give tax, legal, or relationship advice, but are you the CEO or what? Like, I'm just wondering there. So anywho, when those things come up, how do you handle them? How do you address them? Do not pressure. Gross. Don't do it. Understand that the discovery call, the sales call is, for my coaches, it is your first coaching call. That conversation is legit your first coaching call. You are coaching them through possibly the biggest thing that they're going to have to overcome, which is a commitment to their higher future self, right? Period. So that conversation is your first coaching call. It doesn't mean that you're coaching them on the thing that you're coaching them on. Relationship coaches, you're not coaching them on that. Financial coaches, you're not coaching them on that. Business coaches, you're not even coaching them on their business. Like, there's no actual coaching in the lane that you're in. What I mean is that it's your first coaching call and that they're already a client. It's really a when, not an if. So you're coaching them through the biggest mental block that they'll likely have, which is, am I committing to my highest and best future self? Is this the right path? Like, all of those things. When they have concerns and they're like, I need to think about this, let me sleep on it, I don't make big decisions, I never have right out of the gate, I need to, I'll let you know in the morning, all of these things. If you let that go, if you're like, okay, that's cool, like, think about it, take all the time you need, call me back, like, that's fine. Nope. That's not professional. That doesn't do anything. That's not holding them accountable. That's not setting you up for business success. Conversely, pulling some bullshit like, okay, well, this offer will expire at noon tomorrow, so make sure that you follow up with me before that. That's a bunch of bullshit, and you know it. That's salesy. That's gross. It's your business. You can do whatever you want. You're not held to some corporate standard where, like, the coupon code stops working. So, like, cut that shit, because that's false. What you do want to do is you want to say, absolutely, totally understand it. One of my chickens calling me. They always go to FaceTime, these youngins, these little single digiters. Oh, sorry, she's 10. They always FaceTime me. So it's just interesting to notice about communication trends, because I'm like, if I have to FaceTime with everybody in 10 years from now, ugh, God, poke me in the eyeball. Anywho, always book a something from a something. So if they, when they have objections, when they say, I need to sleep on it, I need to check with so-and-so, awesome, totally understand it, absolutely. When is a good time for us to circle back? Do you think you'll be able to talk to so-and-so by tomorrow? Do you want to put something on the calendar for, the same time tomorrow? Would that work for you? Always book a something from a something, and don't let too much time get away. It serves no one. It serves no one with you wondering if they're going to start working with you. I'm sorry, but by the time I've had a conversation with someone, like mentally I said they're already a client, and otherwise I'm like Googling them. I want to find out about their business. I want to see what I could do to help them. Like, I'm already invested, right? So I just need to know like to what degree. And it doesn't serve them any good to like let it go on forever. Am I going to work with her? Am I not? Am I doing this? Like, make a decision, rip the Band-Aid off, yes or no. It's good either way, right? But indecision is a stuck reverse motion. So that's not okay. One quick tip I wasn't expecting to give, but I will say this because my group is called Entrepreneurs Who Overdeliver, because that's what we do. That's what I do. When they say, I got to think about this, one thing I like to do, and it totally, there's so many variables in how to navigate the nuances of this conversation, but one thing I do like to say is absolutely, totally get it. Just super curious, like, how are you thinking that conversation's going to go? Because basically what's happening is now that person is going to go be a salesperson for your business to somebody else, and they're not totally sold on it, and they don't know all the nuances. So it's not from a sales place that you're asking, it's from 100% service place to say, how do you think that conversation's going to go? What are some of the concerns that they're going to have? Because whatever they're projecting out that the concerns that other person is going to have are, subconsciously are their concerns. So just address that shit out of the gate. Just be like, that's a great question. Let me give you some language around that. That's a great question. Let me give you some language around that. Absolutely super interesting. Would it be helpful if we had a three-way conversation? Like, what can I do to support you in making this part of the process a lot easier? Like, I'm on your side, girl. What do I have to do to make this easier? Service energy. She's already a client. And if she comes back and she's like, no, not right now, that doesn't mean that it's like, fuck you then, be gone, right? No, she's still a client. She's still going to be in my world. I'm still going to serve on and support on her and love on her. And if it's not the right time, I'm not forcing anybody, right? I mean, like, I have sales school pricing goes up, right, incrementally. Next year, it's going to be at what I'm pretty sure is going to be like close to its forever price, $6,000 in payments, $5,000 pay in full. Right now, it's $4,000 in payments, $3,000 pay in full. And I'm legit saying, like, the price is going up. You definitely want to, like, hashtag why pay more. And some people are saying, like, I just am not ready right now. Like, I'll pay more when I'm ready. And I'm like, I get it. I like, don't fully, but like, I understand. I understand that that's your decision. What can I do to support you in that? And they're like, you know what, put me on your ticker for, first week of March. That's when I'm done with X, Y, and Z certification program. And that's when I'll have the mental energy. And I'm like, are you sure you don't just want to like buy in now? 'Cause it's forever at the cheaper. She's like, nope, I don't. I just, let's circle back in March. More than happy. Absolutely. She's already a client. If she says no, then that's cool. What can I do to help you? What's coming up? It's just service energy. I'm not afraid. I know my numbers. I know how many clients I need to reach where I want to go. I know how many I can handle at a given time to be able to serve them effectively. And I know the in-between, that's my really sweet spot within that. I know my numbers. I'm not afraid that someone's going to say no to me, because they're not saying no to me. They're saying yes to something else. Get it, girl? Do what works for you. There's 7 billion people in the world. I don't need everybody, and I'm not afraid to lose the wrong person. If it was meant to be, it would be. If it could have worked any other way, it would have. I'm unattached. I'm committed to serving them at the highest and best level. And if that service is not through me, I am committed to serving them at the highest and best level. And anchoring them to me because I am trying to close them is shameful, gross, and weird. And it's not to anybody's best interest, because there's no such thing as one-way liberation. If it's not working for one person, it's not working for everybody. I am getting ranty. So on that note, I'm going to land this plane. If you want the entire training where I go through all of the 10 things that none of the other coaches are going to tell you, it's inside Entrepreneurs Who Overdeliver. If you're watching this on YouTube, please like, comment, subscribe, and share. Otherwise, I will see you tomorrow where we go through part 4 of 10, which is where I get into offers. creating your offers. Oh, such a big one that so many people like struggle around. And how do I do it? And what is it? I'm going to tell you tomorrow. Thanks, guys. See you then. Bye.